Hi guys, it's just Andy from MO Fitness and I'm back today with another client story for you, and today we have got Kate. So Kate, please say hello.
Hi.
So Kate's story is a little bit different to Mel's. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everybody who liked and shared the last video. But Kate's story is a little bit different. It's more of a weight loss journey through fitness. So I'm going to try and let Kate do as much of the talking as we can. Obviously I'll jump in if we need to, but what was the biggest you got up to, Kate? Just before we start.
Biggest I was a 20 clothes size.
Okay. And how did you get yourself to that size? Was it just, is that natural, or were you not looking after yourself, or?
Probably a little bit of everything. I don't think it was one of those where I realise now I probably wasn't even that conscious of the size that I was. My food probably wasn't terrible, but it wasn't something that I really gave much thought about. And I'd actually been on different pills and stuff as well, and when I changed from a different contraception pill I actually lost a bit of weight, so it was probably a combination of a lot of different things.
I understand. I get that quite a lot with my female clients. Is they change the pill and it completely transforms their life.
Yeah.
So how did you feel when you were at the size 20? I know you just said that you weren't too conscious of things, but how did you feel when you were a size 20?
I think looking back now, I didn't have anywhere near as much self-confidence, and it was probably a bit of denial, like when you go shopping and you can't buy the things that you want to buy. It's almost like it doesn't fit me. Okay. I think it almost was a bit of a bubble because I wasn't really thinking about it.
I understand what you're saying. And was that demoralising for you, or was that just you blamed the clothes, so to speak?
Yeah, probably, and it'd been quite a while that I'd probably been around that size, or I'd never been really, really small. So it'd probably just been quite gradual, so it's probably one that you're not as aware of, and that's just who you are kind of thing, rather than it being a shift and a change and you're thinking, oh God, I need to do something about this.
I understand what you're saying. I think what was interesting is you showed me a photo of you when you were at your biggest. And you didn't seem any less Kate than I know you now. But there was clearly a distinct difference in the way that you looked. Did you think, I've got to get myself into fitness, or I've got to start eating better? What was it for you that you started to do?
I think I wanted to, a little bit. I think originally when I've joined gyms on and off, probably for the last 15, 20 years, and never really done anything serious with it. And then the gym where we met, when it was at Fairlawns, I joined that gym because I'd just come out of a relationship and I wanted a bit of structure and something to focus on. And I wanted it was something to do almost, and a bit of structure, and so that's why I got into the gym this time.
And how did you feel walking up to the gates of Fairlawns? It's a question that I always ask because there seems to be apprehension in almost everybody I speak to. So were you apprehensive about joining, or?
A little bit, yeah. I think if you're not a regular gym goer and you're not really into your fitness anyway, it's a bit like you walking into something that you don't really understand, and you don't know the best thing to do either. So it's like almost like ticking a box. It's like, I've got a gym membership now. But when you get there, you just think, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah. What I think was great about Fairlawns is they gave us the opportunity to give everyone a programme, and you were with a different instructor to begin with, which was cool. What was that first programme like?
It was fine. It was probably, compared to like now, it was probably quite easy, but it was the first thing I was doing, so it was to get me into it. So it was getting me moving, and it was it was making a little bit of impact, but I'd gone from doing nothing to then doing something. So it was making a little bit of impact. I was enjoying it, I think, because I'd started going to the gym and I got the kind of routine and stuff, so I was enjoying that. But yeah.
Probably weren't as intense as it needed to be, so to speak.
No.
So at that point, I interjected, and it's something I do quite a lot in gyms, is sort of walk around and make sure everyone's doing stuff. And your workout looked pretty easy for what you could do. so to speak. So I obviously interjected and made a big difference to the program. What was the biggest difference that you saw with what I gave you?
I think you'd added more weights in, and before it had only been really cardio stuff, and that I'd never really even thought about doing weights. Like, to me, in my mind, exercise was running on a treadmill. So to think that I could do all the weights and stuff, I'd always thought you need to be like a bodybuilder to touch weights and that kind of thing. So that kind of, you opened that whole different area up for me in terms of exercise.
And when I introduced the weights, did you see a difference to your weight, or what did you see?
Oh yeah, God, yeah, there was a massive difference once I'd started doing different things that you were putting into place. It was like I'd seen a bit anyway from when I started, because it was something new that I was doing, but it was kind of like I'd gone a little bit like that, and then when I started doing stuff with you, it just kind of, the differences shot up really.
That's cool. I remember giving you the same exercise as Mel, which was the TRX squat jumps. I remember I give them to almost everybody because I think they're absolutely brilliant. And I remember sort of coming to see you while you were in the gym, and you literally couldn't move. And I think that shows how much your body needs to be pushed to be able to get to the next level. So while you were at Fairlawn, how many dress sizes did you drop?
Probably one, I think, because I wasn't a 20 when I joined Fairlawn, so I was a bit smaller anyway. So probably one, I think, in that time.
But did you notice the confidence was coming out, or did you feel different?
Yeah, I think because once I'd started doing your program as well, I could see the results better, and I think once you can see some results, you start going past the point of I'm just doing this because it's a nice routine and it's keeping me busy, to I'm actually getting something out of this. So that was the difference.
Fantastic. And was your confidence starting to, because you always seem quite confident anyway, but was there more confidence around your friends or around your family?
Yeah, I think so. I think with the kind of the changes that I felt and what I was seeing, it was almost like I felt a bit stronger, because I could see changes that were happening, like, physically, and my body felt a little bit stronger, and that almost translates into a bit of mental strength as well.
I think I remember you saying to me that people were asking you if you were okay. Same thing happened with Mel. People were almost worried that you were losing weight because of something that wasn't fitness, so to speak. Is that the case?
Yeah, and I think you don't necessarily realise until it's other people start saying it. I was getting it at work a lot. Some people still say it now. They're like, "God, are you still doing stuff?" But it's, until people start saying, "What are you doing?" or "What diet are you on?" or you don't really realise until, and I was getting it quite a lot.
Do you almost, because I'm guessing at a size, I might be wrong, but I'm guessing at a size 20, you probably weren't getting that, if you know what I'm saying. And obviously to go, by that time, I think you were a 16 or a 14, one of the two.
Yeah.
That's quite a drastic change from a 20. So obviously people are going to see a huge difference. Could you see that difference?
I would say it was different because I was buying smaller clothes. I think mentally, at that point, it hadn't quite sunk in. I don't think.
I think that's what happens to quite a lot of people, really, is they don't quite understand, really, because I've had a lot of people say it to me when they've been at an 18 or a 14, they still believe that they're their biggest size, maybe because they've been there for so long.
Yeah, I think it's about... Go on.
Carry on.
I was going to say, it's like a difference between realising it and actually accepting it. Like, you realise, actually, you realise I'm smaller than I was, or like, my body's changed in this way. But to actually accept it and kind of deal with it is completely different. And that's why, you shout at me, but I still buy clothes bigger than I need, because in my head I haven't properly accepted that I am a smaller size now. And
we'll get onto that in a later point, because that is quite interesting you say that, because I get quite a few people who do say that. Yeah. So you then got in contact with me when I set up MA Fitness and you wanted one-to-one training. What was the biggest difference between one-to-one and what we've been doing at Fairlawns?
I think it's the bespoke element. Even though you'd done a program for me at Fairlawns, and that was obviously made for me, it's more intensively bespoke, and I think you can put more of your knowledge into it, and it's far more probably far more detailed, because I suppose I come every week and you give me something different to do, and it's like every single exercise you give me to do and every single movement that I do when I'm in a training session with you is going to have some kind of effect and some kind of result. So it's that kind of, it is quite intense, but it's that kind of bespoke element that's really different.
And for me, the biggest thing that you've done is you've actually embraced the nutrition. It's something that a lot of my guys struggle with, but you've embraced it really, really well. So what is it about the nutrition that suits you?
I like a plan. Like, I'm a process person, I'm a plan person. So if you give me something to do, I can quite easily stick to it anyway. I think it's part of the exercise as well, knowing that what I'm going to do with it is going to have a result. You know, I can see that in the exercises that you've given me, and then you give me a nutrition plan, and I do trust that that's going to have an effect as well. So I think it's probably a bit of all of that, knowing that this is going to help. Like, the benefits I'm getting from the exercise are brilliant. This nutrition plan is just going to help me even more. So I can get quite focused with that.
Did you ever think that you would, because obviously, I mean, would you like to say what size you've got down to now, or are we going to have a disagreement on this still?
We're probably going to disagree about it. I'm a 12 going into a 10.
You're not. You're just a 10. Simple as that. You're gonna buy something at size 12 and it's not going to fit. We're going to have disagreements on this forever. Do you still feel that's in the back of your mind, that it's still there, that you are still bigger than what you are?
Yeah, but it comes, I was thinking about it, and it comes from like 15 years of telling myself I would never be this size now. When I was my biggest, I would have said, I did regularly say to myself, I would never be a size 12. I think I said I'd never be a size 14. You know, so I've got like 15 years of those thoughts to try and get rid of, because they're there. They're probably always going to be there, because I spent so long telling myself you'd never be a size 12. You'd never be a size 10. It seems so far away and unachievable. I think that's why it's so hard to get rid of.
Because we've discussed this quite a lot, is I think you find every excuse of why you fit into a size 10. It's the clothes' fault, or it's the manufacturer's fault. Do you find that quite a lot?
It's because they're all stretchy, that's why I tell you.
It's just not though, is it? It's because you're actually in that size.
Yeah.
And I think you are right. I think it is 15 years of, I am this size, I am always going to be this size. And you've done 2-3 years of intense work. I mean, how many times have you trained a week now?
Yeah. Oh yeah, once we do 2 or 3 times at the gym.
Do you find that the programs, because you've got more knowledge of fitness now and you understand a wide variety of exercises, do you find that that's helped you out in the gym more, so you can sort of self-plan a little bit, or?
Yeah, because I feel more confident in knowing why I'm doing certain things. Like, because when you give me something to do, you don't just bark it as an order. You tell me what it's doing and what muscles it's working and why I'm doing it and why this goes with that. So I understand a little bit better to be able to, like if I'm in the gym and I want to go on something but there's somebody on it, I can think, okay, what else is going to be similar that I can do until that's free or something. So yeah, it's given me an education on it as well, so I can help myself a little bit.
I think that's, for me, the best part of being a personal trainer, is educating somebody to be able to do something in the gym without even, sort of thinking about it, so that they can go into what they want to do. Yeah. I mean, you could walk into a gym now and practically write your own exercise plan, which is really cool, because you've got, even if you're not training with me, you've got that knowledge to stay with you for the rest of your life, basically, which I think is really cool. Yeah. What has all this journey done for you personally? Because I think this is the the biggest point that people want to hear. What has it done for you?
There's definitely a confidence side and a self-esteem side. I think there's probably an element of a control point around it, because I think I was thinking about this, and one of the things that I've realised as I started doing more training with you, more so the one-to-one stuff, is I'd never really thought that I could have any control over my body. I always just kind of thought it's there, it's doing its own thing, like I can't impact it. You know, I would have thought I would never be able to lift those weights, I could never run that much, I could never row that much. They were almost kind of separate, but now I've understand that I can have an influence over it and I can control it, and it's actually my responsibility. And that's a physical thing, but it's a mental thing as well. And the point about feeling strong, I think that comes from both of it as well, because I know if there's something that I want to do, I could come to you and say, I want to do that. And as long as it was within reason and it was safe and it was healthy, you would tell me how to do that and you'd help me do that. And I think realising that you're capable of things, that's probably a massive difference, and that goes into different parts of your life as well, because when you have that confidence and you feel like you've got a bit more control over yourself in that way, that does roll out into other parts.
Do you find it empowering?
Yeah, it is, because I know now I could pick something to do and come to you and go, get me to a point where I can do that, and you to as much as you could, you would do that.
Because just before this quarantine, obviously, you had a holiday booked, which unfortunately we didn't get to go on. But it's the first time that we'd ever tried what is known in the industry as a cut phase, where we really strip your body fat back and we try and get you. We were trying to get you into a bikini.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, just before you went to Thailand, I think that you could have potentially have got towards where you wanted to be. If you could have spoken to yourself, the 15 years ago, Kate, would that Kate have ever been in a bikini?
No, I'd never worn one before. Never. So I'm 34 and I've still never worn one because I didn't go on holiday. But yeah, and that's why I would never have set that goal for myself before either. But knowing that I have this element of control now, and ability, that's why I did set that goal, and I said to you I wanted to do that because I knew it would actually be possible. Like, with your help and with me putting the effort in, I knew I can actually do that, and it's something I've never worn a bikini before, and I knew that I wanted to try it. Like, it's a really exciting thing to do, but you know what I mean.
It's something that I think a lot of people take for granted, is they might automatically have, it's what's called an ectomorph body type. It's a very small body type. Unfortunately, you're not one of these type of body types. So you've got to sort of train your body in a certain way to make it look that way. And it's an equally valid goal to try and do something that you've never done before. But I want to come on to something for me that I told you not to do, that you went ahead and did, and that was when you were 14 and you came to me at MA Fitness. I said, do not buy the next size clothes down, and you did. What has happened to those clothes?
Oh, they're too big.
They are all in the bin.
They are.
Every single one of those clothes you've told me is in the bin. Was that a bit of a shock to you, how quickly it came off?
Yeah, I think it was, because I think it took a little while for me to realise that the impact and the change that I could have and how quickly it was. So yeah, and again, those thoughts of it doesn't matter because you're never going to be that size anyway. Like, of course those clothes will still fit you in 6 months. So you were right.
Yeah, I say that to quite a lot of my clients, is just don't buy the next size clothes down, because you will be putting them in the bin, and everyone goes out and buys a new wardrobe, a couple of £100 straight down the drain, and then I normally get a shouting out because I've lost them too much. But then when you actually take a look at the way that you look, it's invaluable. There's no amount of money that you can put on the way that you look or the way that you feel, because I've seen confidence come out of you that's that I've never really seen before, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, would you have done anything differently?
I don't think I would really. I don't think I would. I think because the whole thing has been so interesting from like a physical change point of view, but the mental side of it has been really interesting as well. So I think there's nothing that I'd do differently.
Would you have started it earlier if you could?
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
I think that's the big one that everyone says is to me is that I just wish I'd have done this 20 years ago. I just wish I'd have done this 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Because at the time you don't realise how long. I mean, we're already into May of 2020. This year has already flown by, and most of us have been sat at home in quarantine for that. It's crazy how quick the time goes, and I think if anybody takes anything from your story, number one is that you need to buy stuff that actually fits you, but number two is just take the ball by the horns and go for it.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you would say to the people that are watching this? What you would give them any advice on how to get started?
I think you have got to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Like I said, when I first started, I thought exercise was just going on a treadmill, and I was going to do that initially when I first joined the gym, and I was ticking a box. But it's working with you has made me realise that it's so far from being just a broad exercise thing. You know, the stuff that I've realised from you about kind of my biological makeup almost, and my metabolism, and how everything needs to be considered when you're looking at exercise to get results. You need to think about all those different things, so it's not just go in, do the treadmill, do this, do that, and then you're done. You might see some results, but to actually have a real impact and to make your body stronger and better, it needs to be about you. So you need to take the time, however you do it, to work out what it is and what's right for you. And you don't know that yourself. You need somebody like you who knows what they're doing, because I wouldn't know. So it's just, if you're going to do it, put the investment in and put the effort into working out what's right for you.
Well, I've been thinking about this quite a lot while we've been in quarantine. Is you see a lot of people doing sort of DIY at home, and you can get away with it. And there are people that do DIY on their body and can get away with it. But the vast majority of people go there for the first 8 weeks, do a bit of DIY fitness, and get absolutely nowhere. You've got to get that expert opinion. I mean, let's say, for example, before you joined Fairlawns, you say that you've been on and off in gyms for, 15, 20 years. How come none of them stuck? Was it just because you didn't have that knowledge, or...?
Yeah, because I was just going on the treadmill, doing a few little bits. I was never touching weights or anything. I was just doing a little bit of cardio, trying my best not to talk to anyone, not to look at anyone, just go in, do that and come out. This box ticking exercise, it's not actually about you and what you want to do with it. So you've got to know what you want to do, and you need someone to help you shape that.
Well, originally, this is a question I've got for you. Originally, before I changed your program from the first basic one to what I put most of my guys on when they're getting themselves into fitness, I really couldn't figure you out. I mean, like, I'd talk to you in the gym and I'd just get a high, which I don't mind. That's absolutely fine. I understand that people just want to do their own thing. Did you think I was unapproachable, or were you a little bit unconfident to talk to me? I felt like you were a bit push away, if you know what I'm saying. Was that more from you, or did you find that you weren't the massive fan of me, so to speak?
No, I think it was probably a confidence thing. Like I said, I think I was probably still ticking a box. And when you're at that point, it's like a whole nother world to think that, you know, the PTs have got all this knowledge, and it's a little bit scary, because you think, oh God, what if they give me something that I really don't like doing? And if you don't have the confidence to be able to say, I don't like that, I don't want to do it, it's something that I think you just probably shy away from. And I think it's an extra investment, and maybe I wasn't quite ready to make that extra investment to bring someone else into it and to get someone else's help. But I think, like, for me, I have to think that I have to understand and see if something's worthwhile, then I'll give it my everything. And I think it was apprehension of not knowing if it was not going to be not worth talking to you. But do you know what I mean? It like, are they just, do they actually know what they're doing? Is it actually worth me doing it? And until you push yourself to go, actually this is going to be worthwhile for me. If it's worthwhile, then I'm all in 100%. But it was probably just the apprehension for me, and just not having the confidence to go. And again, probably a little bit of, oh, there's no point, because I'm not going to see anything that dramatic change anyway. I'm just here. I'm feeling a little bit better about myself. So it's probably all of that. Don't worry, it wasn't.
I understand. I think that's the biggest problem in my industry at the moment is I generally had good intentions. I could see that it was way too easy for you. I mean, to start off with, it might have seemed a little bit difficult, but it just wasn't. And I remember when you were walking on the incline treadmill for 15 minutes thinking, with your body type, it's just completely counterintuitive to what you should actually be doing. And I find there's a lot of stigma around PTs in the industry. Is number one, they're either going to try and sleep with you, or number two is they're going to try and rinse you out of some money, and they don't actually know what they're doing. And I sort of hate the stigma, but that is what it is. Did you ever get a bit of that coming into the gym to think, are people going to come up and approach me, or they're going to try and make money out of me, or anything like that?
Yeah, probably, because I think, again, it's a world I didn't really understand, but like you, I probably didn't think those things that strongly, but in the back of my head, I thought, oh yeah, like PTs, I probably had a little bit of that. So I probably just kind of shied away from it. But once you understand the knowledge that people like you have got and how you can put it to really good use, then it's different.
No, I appreciate you saying that, and I really appreciate you coming on the channel, because a lot of the guys that are listening to this may want to do something that you've done, because to go from a 20 to a 10, realistically, you've lost half of your body. I know that might not seem the way, but if you think about it, that's the way it has gone. And if you could, walk back to yourself 15 years ago, stand in front to yourself and say, this is what you're going to look like in 15 years' time, what would 19-year-old Kate Bentley say?
Oh, that wouldn't have gone in at all. Wouldn't have had the ability to get my head around that and think that would actually happen. Never.
Fantastic. And I think we're still not completely there yet. I mean, no. I know you've said to me there's a couple of things that you want to try and you want to do. So I think we've just got to keep working hard and trying to get you towards that.
Yeah, because I think it's a for me now, it's a change, and it's like knowing that I can have this influence over what I look like and how I feel. Like, that's going to carry on. It's not a short-term goal thing for me. It's how do I make this sustainable in different ways for whatever phase of my life that I'm in. So it's never going to just go now. You've got. And
could you imagine life without exercise now?
No, I do actually miss it, which is I'd never ever thought I would say, but I think it's because it is a really positive thing, and it's something that you can put your energy into. It's hard when it's not there.
And when you've worked so hard to do something and it gets taken away from you, you realise what you've actually got, so to speak. Because I'm finding it quite difficult not being in the gym to be able to do the weights I used to do, or to be able to get, not that I've got the discipline to do it, but to get the motivation to be able to get up and do what I need to do. And have you found that during this period? Yeah,
because I'm a routine person, so I liked sessions with you and then going to the gym as well, because that was like my hour where I don't have my phone and just put my music on and go and do my thing. So it's a big upheaval when it all goes, but just trying to fill it with whatever bits I can.
Fantastic. So I think we'll wrap it up there. For all the guys that have listened to this, please comment down below what you think on Kate's story, because it is. I'll try and put the picture of you. I think the one you showed me where you were at a house party at the beginning, next to the sort of a modern style photo. you know, you can clearly see the difference in yourself. And to say that you've done this not relatively in older age, but sort of, you know, in your 30s is, you know, something you don't really hear too often.
Because I'm getting wise in my old age.
Dear oh dear. But yeah, I'd just like to say, you know, thanks to everybody who's watching the videos. Thanks to everyone who subscribed to me. I will be coming out with workout videos. The next one will be a workout video. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the video. Comment down below just to say how well done Kate's done, because she has done fantastically well. And I will speak to you all next time. Cheers, guys.